You're also how many World Trade Center physics theories will you send me tonight?
I'm I
I'll
just
just prepare. Just
okay. I'm just so
let me ask you a question first. Do you really believe? Forget these videos. Do you really believe that something was afoot, other than what we've been told that it was a terrorist attack organized by Al Qaeda?
okay. So now let me preference that by explaining to you my 9/11.
Okay.
Okay. So at this point in my life, I'm going to bed 4, maybe 5. I got blackout uh, shades in my place, so my loft is. I mean, it's you can't see your hand in front of your face. And about 11:40, I hear this pounding on my fucking door. I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn the lamp on next to my bed so I don't walk into a wall. Not that there was many in the loft. And walk around the corner, go to the door, and I open up. My concierge standing there. I said, "What's up?" He says, "You need to fucking call your wife. She's been calling, and you haven't picked up your phone." I said, "Well, my fucking phone's turned off." She said, "Pick up." He said, "Well, fucking call your wife." So I'm like, "All right." So I go over. I turn on my phone. I've got like 15 missed fucking calls and like a billion texts and everything else. And I called Tamara. I said, "What's up, babe?" She goes, "Who's attacking us?" I said, "What?" She said, "Who's attacking us?" I said, I don't understand what you mean." She says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I've been to fucking sleep." She says, "Turn on your TV." So I've got a 60-inch Mitsubishi TV, and this is back when that TV probably weighed 500 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It was on wheels. So, and I used to wheel it over to these two chairs, and me and T would play video games. And then at nighttime, I'd wheel it closer to the end of the bed so I could watch TV from the bed. So I wheeled it, but the TV was against the wall. So I wheeled the TV up, and I get back in bed, and I sit there and I turn it on, and they're fucking showing. Now I'm watching. The first thing I see is the fucking the building do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling them, Tamara's on the phone with me. I said, "What the fuck?" She said, "Yeah, they ran planes into it." I said, "That wouldn't happen if a fucking plane ran into it." I said, "Fucking if anything," I said, "it would like a part of it might fall over or something." I said, "But that," I said, "that looks like fucking one of those Vegas deals." It's exactly what I said to my wife. I said, "That looks like fucking a Vegas implosion." I said, "You got to be fucking kidding me." So I get up and I watch it, and I'm just like, and then as time goes on, they one of the things they say is they can't find a fucking piece of paper bigger than a fucking 16th of an inch, yet they find Atta's fucking passport. Is that not like the pristine bullet laying on Kennedy's fucking gurney in Parkway? Like it had all the earmarks of the same bullshit from the Kennedy assassination. And then so it happens, nothing I can do about it. But then I fly up to New York to see Vince, and this is maybe as soon as we could fly, plus maybe 4 or 5 days. So it might have been 2 weeks afterwards. And I told the driver, limo driver, I said, "Hey guys, can you take me by ground zero?" Because I just wanted to see it. And I was thinking, like, well, there's no way you can get anywhere near this thing because those two largest buildings in the world crumbled side by side. And I got there, and there was a fucking hole in the ground and another hole in the ground, and there was fucking dump trucks, and there was nothing. There wasn't a beam, nothing. And I just went, what the fuck?
Well, they were hauling all that out
Yeah.
throughout the weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
they were. I know people that
Yeah.
worked
I
down
know.
there
I
on
know
it.
they were.
Yeah.
Fucking just like they clear the fucking lands at the dunes when they fucking implode it.
Well, now I'm told that these buildings are built in such a way because of the height that it could never topple. That the beams would part and it would fall from there. I'm told that they were built that way.
They
That
were,
was the.
and I was told that fucking they were designed to take an aircraft hit.
How do you know until it happens?
Come
And it wasn't the
on,
hit
man.
that did it. It was the
But the fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt the fucking metal.
fuel.
The only thing that burns hot enough to melt the metal is thermite.
But I think because that floor was knocked out and the weight of it and the fire was burning everything else.
So how
the weight
does
of that top is what caused
does
it to
what?
come down.
And it free falls?
To drop, and it began floor by floor. It began to give.
How does
because
it do
of the
that?
additional weight? Well, because what was it? The 80. What floor did it hit? The 88th floor or whatever. I forget. But how many floors above that? When that came down, that impact is what sent the reverberation through the building.
And it dropped. It dropped. So if you took the top part and dropped it
onto itself
with nothing underneath it, it fell with the floors underneath it. It took 0.6 seconds longer than if you would just take the part that was damaged and free fall it.
Listen, I'm not a physicist. I would be curious to know. See, the thing though with this, and you brought up Kennedy. The thing that makes Kennedy, the Kennedy conspiracies, so rich for people to pour through and have theories.
Do you want to read? You want to read Steve's comment here?
All the supporting things as to why Kennedy's removal would have benefited CIA, the mob, whichever theory you subscribe to. To what end would the blowing up the Twin Towers have done anything, and why that? A reason to engage Iraq again?
No, I mean, if you go on you want to go on greed?
Oh, the contracts. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the Port Authority deemed both those towers that they had to be stripped of all the asbestos.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they basically said that's not even a tangible concept to take all that out. So what is it? What do you do?
Well, this is one I haven't heard yet. So
you don't know that. You don't know that those buildings were not. They were going to have to strip all that fucking shit out of there, so it wasn't code.
And is this an existing theory that the destruction of those buildings was to avoid having to remove the asbestos? I've not heard that.
I'm just saying that there's 1,001 things. Come on, a guy buys the building and puts a fucking $40 billion fucking life insurance a policy on them, and they go down like 90 days after he gets it clear.
But to coordinate these guys that could fly the plane.
Let me ask you a question. When you saw that day,
mm-hmm.
What were the numbers in your head of the amount of people that we were gonna lose? 100,000?
Maybe not 100, but I thought 20,000 people. I worked across the street at the time for Bankers Trust with Deutsche Bank.
Right. So I mean, you know,
And yeah, I mean, I thought that
the
it would have
numbers
been
when
10, 15,
so
20,000
if you
people just
take
because of how many people were in the buildings.
if you take the first responders out of that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you looking at?
What the actual figure was, you mean, or what? Or
If you
what
take the
I would
first
have guessed?
responders out, no. If you take the the actual figure. If you take the first responders out,
Well, what was the number? Three?
I think
What did it end up
1,500 of
being?
them were first responders.
So they got most of the people out of the buildings before the collapse.
Or they fucking, like a lot of people, just didn't seem to make it to work that day.
I wasn't in yet. I wasn't to work yet, and nobody told me to stay home. I just wasn't there yet. I don't know, Kev.
I'm just saying though, if you want to do, to me, if you want to do the most damage possible, don't you do it like 10?
The time, you mean, to do it at 10 o'clock? I don't know. I mean, they had to be able to get flights that they could commandeer close enough to the
They had to be filled with fuel.
right.
They had to be going. They had to be big enough planes, all going West Coast.
It was 8:45 a.m. and everybody's commuting in. You know, that was a train station underneath
Right.
too. So I mean, everyone's commuting in. I mean, you certainly could have done. You didn't need to do it at 10. You could. I mean, 8:45 in Manhattan. People are working.
I just can't believe that. It's just very hard for. It's hard for me to believe that we can't do anything. We can't get back to the moon. It's like I have a really hard time believing we fucking landed on the moon.
Yes, well, you're not alone on that.
With less technology than we have in a smartphone right now.
So again, to what end? The bragging rights. The U.S. is on the moon. What was the win?
Yeah.
Beat the Russians,
Yeah.
not into space, but onto the moon.
Onto the moon.
Have it look at our GDP compared to theirs today.
Exactly.
Don't give a shit that they sent a monkey into space.
It's all, and as they say, everything that we like Velcro and all those things were, but those were all because of the aliens,
i.e., Maven.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of feedback from last week's episode. Kev, Bronx PC Tech said Raw looks better now because it's on the internet, which is capable of streaming true 1080p. Cable boxes still use 1080i. It's not as clear. So being off cable, Raw looks better. And he would know because he's a Bronx PC Tech. So I'm guessing that.
Sweet. I mean, I optically, it definitely fucking shows up for me.
And it is available in 4K also. That's if your television, like they all do now.